and because of a snowstorm, and so he wasn't going to be able to compete. But apparently he is here now, and it's Tempo Storm versus Weeback. Oh my gosh, I actually love these guys. Weeback, Majid, Flurry, and Asper, they've been competing in GCD tournaments for nearly an entire year at this point. These guys are OG GCD champions, and so I love them all. But man, I am really actually scared. I made a bet, if you aren't aware, I made a bet that if they went and they won the whole tournament, tournament number 5, I would eat a ghost pepper. Now, I'm probably not going to eat the ghost pepper on GCD streams TV. I'm probably going to eat the ghost pepper on my own stream to kind of keep professional integrity, because I'm going to be acting like an idiot, I'm sure, like with my mouth on fire. So that will happen after the tournament if they win. Weeback, though, they're going to be having to take down Tempo Storm, which is a crazy dream team of a team now that they picked up Goreki and Chanimal. Jamili and Peekaboo also was on Tempo Storm preemptively, but picking up these two crazy good players. Ooh. We're going to jump into the first game here, and it looks like we see Dampener enter the arena. The Dampener, if you guys aren't aware, is Jamili's Elemental Shaman. So Jamili's going to be doing a little bit of comp swap here, a different class, and he's going to jump onto that Elemental Shaman to make the composition LSD 1.0.
Yeah, they were practicing all last night, around like 2700 MMR, so they were doing pretty well. Obviously, Chanimal, this is the composition that he played to win BlizzCon, I think in 2013, so he's very familiar with the comp as well. Jamili adapting, Goreki just known for multi-classing as well. So I think it's smart from Tempo Storm to get every advantage that they think they can get. But we've seen LSD backfire against Mage Moonkin very deep into dampening, and I wonder if Weeback are going to play for that long game, or if they're going to just push in and stay on top of Tempo Storm.
Yeah, we're going to find out here very, very soon. Asper actually not using that glyph. He's in the OG Moonkin form. I'm a fan of that. Asper looking to shoot some Hadoukens towards Tempo Storm, it looks like, but he's taking the short end in the exchange. Already dipping down to 50% health here. Deep Freeze onto Goreki. Polymorph onto Dampener. Chanimal's the kill target into the bash. Asper popping the Celestial Alignment as Goreki's put into the full Polymorph into the Hodge out onto Chanimal's. Chanimal's taking a bunch of pressure, but do they have the follow-up CC? The Solar Beam is going to land out onto Goreki. Chanimal's is going to port back away and try to line of sight Majid and Asper. The Ice Nova reconnects onto him. Can they take down the LSD in the opener? Doesn't look like it, as the Hellstone regen will be used, as well as the trinket from Goreki, and Tempo Storm is going to stabilize here. Demon Soul coming out from Channimals is forcing Weeback behind the pillar, as Floria out in the open just taking a bunch of damage, dipping down to 50% health here, and Tempo Storm showing them what's what on that opener. They're going to stop them completely with all of the stops that LSD is equipped with.
Very important in that setup that they got Goreki's trinket. As a Resto Druid against Mage Moonkin, you are very vulnerable to being swapped to. You can see that's why he's keeping hots on himself. The Mushroom playing very far back. He knows that he could be exposed. Asper and Mage are crossing the map. Are they going to make the swap? Goreki preemptively stampeding his team to keep them very mobile. Jamili needs to keep Goreki alive if they make the swap with his healing surges, but Asper can also cross CC with the Solar Beam. Makes me think that that's what they're waiting for from Asper. That, or they just want to extend the game to the point in dampening where they can get a kill with Celestial Alignment. Both options are viable, but now Solar Beam is up. I would imagine Weeback are going to go in and maybe look for a kill on Goreki. Goreki goes into stealth, even trying to drink. He's actually kind of ooming himself, pre-hotting his team so much. He wants to get ready for the burst. Everyone rebuffing. Goreki caught into the deep freeze. They're not going to swap. They go for the polymorph instead. Solar Beam over onto Jamili, but no root to follow it up. So he is going to be able to get out of it and heal up Chanimal throughout the CC onto Goreki. They don't manage to chain the polymorphs on him either. Chanimal breaks it up with a Shadow Fury. Well done. Now they're just going to retreat back to the pillar. Once again, this is a push-pull composition. Go in, try and get some cooldowns, see what you get. Run the heck away after it's over, and being able to recognize when the push is done is very important for the Mage Moonkin team.
Yeah, and because they're able to recognize it so early on, they're holding on to so many defensive cooldowns because of it. Both blocks, you know, the Bark Skin available, Trinket on their Holy Paladin, they're sitting pretty. Now they're pushing in once again, Deep Freeze onto Goreki in human form. Can Majid land the Polymorph? He's not going to be able to do it. The Hodge goes out onto Channimals, though. They're still trying to pump the damage out onto him. Goreki and Channimals are trying to line of sight together, though. Floria using his wings to keep his team offensive and in their face, but the momentum seems to be lost once again as Tempo Storm just puts a dampener on Weeback's opener. And here we go. Gorecki getting Frost Nova'd up. Dampener taking a bunch of damage, dipping down to 50% health here. The orb coming out from Majidin as well. Solar Beam's going to lock out Chanimal on that fear, and Floria losing or not getting in any CC just yet. Deep Freeze goes out onto Gorecki. Swap over out onto Channels into the DR Hodge. The full Cyclone does land on a Gorecki, and this is a setup that Weeback wants, but Majidin actually gets hexed up on it, and Gorecki is going to avoid any more CC, and the momentum is lost once again. But Majidin and Asper, they're not giving up just yet. They're still pushing into their face. They want to make something happen. Floria, though, pushing out, is going to get caught into that full fear, and Asper is going to pull back and play it safe once again.
Jamili doing a lot of damage right now, just continuous chains of lava burst onto Majidin. Channel working to get some dots out, does get that soul burn haunt up to increase his dot damage. Maybe looking to soul swap them over now onto Floria, and he does get a full row of dots. Gorecki caught into the deep freeze. Evanescence Polymorph follows it up. Full Fist of Justice onto Channels. They're definitely focusing onto him. Celestial Alignment available. Asper choosing to hold on to it, trying to bait that Dark Regeneration out without it, but it's not going to be enough. Weeback don't have the damage to force it. Now Channel popping his Dark Soul is going to create a lot of counter pressure as Floria is moving forward. Avenging Wrath not available for about 9 more seconds. As we're securing a clone in the meantime, nice Solar Beam on Channels, going to deny a bunch of damage from his Dark Soul. Majidin still rotting down. Floria now with that Avenging Wrath coming up in 0.1 seconds should be able to recover his team, but they're going to retreat for now, try and hold on to it. Majidin positioned over here with Floria as we're pulling back as well, and this is definitely going to be a long match between these Wizard teams, and Dampening can go both ways. I'm curious to see how Weeback plays it out. Obviously, Tempo Storm, a new roster, trying to experiment with this composition as well as 3 players that don't normally play together that often. Let's see if it works out for them here in Game 1.
Yeah, Floria, I think, knows it's going to go to a late game. He always is catching those drinks whenever it's possible. Gorecki, though, not having as much opportunity. He's at 40% mana. Chanimals is actually going to catch this Iron Bark before the Cyclone lands out on a Gorecki. Hodge goes out in the Dampener, and they'll swap over on him. That's an Iron Bark and Shamanistic Rage so far for a trade-up of Tempo Storm in this next opener from Asper and Majidin. Floria's wings are still up, keeping his team completely healthy here, and it looks like Asper and Majidin want to push in. They want to make something happen here. Majidin catching a whole bunch of damage from Dampener, though. Bash goes out on a Gorecki. Are they going to make a swap onto him? They are. That's going to force the Bark Skin as he dips down to 50% health here. He's trying to line of sight in bear form, avoiding it, but Majidin is in trouble. No block available to him because of that specialization. Saberlight's going to proc onto him, and Floria's going to be able to keep him alive for now, but Dampening has started. Who is going to have the real advantage here?
Majidin still getting popped down. Jamili getting a nice Earth Shock Fulmination crit there. Gorecki maybe getting swapped to again here. No, they're going to go for the sheep. Swap over onto Jamili. Jamili's going to trinket and gate to the other side. He has no Sham Rage for 10 seconds. Could have been a close call for him, but again, burning through another cooldown. Now no trinket available potentially for a Solar Beam stun combo later if that Celestial Alignment comes up in about another minute. They might be able to 100-0 him with it. Let's see how Weeback decides to play this. Chanimal's going to gate back with his team. Floria actually leading the charge here, playing the most far forward. Now abandoning that push. They don't really have any CC just yet. Deep Freeze coming up in about 1 second. Are they going to commit onto Jamili? Are they make another swap? Chanimal resummoning his pet. Weeback have been doing a good job to just try and kill that off over and over and over. Full dots loaded out for Chanimals. Getting a Soulburn Haunt up again onto Majidin. A lot of bursts could follow up. Asper blinking in, but eating a bash from Gorecki. Gorecki got that Shadow Meld drink off and baited Asper in, now forcing his trinket. Floria got locked out. Majidin forced to Evanescence and Cold Snap defensively here, which means he will not have it to guarantee himself CC. And now with that Avenging Wrath up, Weeback would like to push, but how are they going to get the CC? There's the Deep Freeze. He's using the second Evanescence already, but the pre-Iron Bark out from Gorecki should give enough damage reduction that they're forced to actually swap over onto Chanimal, but with no CC on a Gorecki, he should be able to pick him back up just fine. The only really thing going in favor for Weeback right now is that Gorecki's dangerously low on mana.
Yeah, and I think that these swaps on that Iron Bark and the swaps in general from Chanimal and Dampener is forcing Gorecki to pre-hot their whole team, and the mana pool is reflecting that quite a bit. Gorecki looking for the Prowl stealth. Drink, though, in the far backline. This is a big deal if they can land it, but Asper can't push in and stop it, and Gorecki's getting a huge drink, and that's going to be a huge deal moving forward here into Dampening. Majidin, though, without a block, has got to be scared here, dipping down to 12% health, and at 13% Dampening, Celestial Alignment is up, and Tempo Storm potentially could just get bursted down here at any moment, but can Weeback set it up, or will Tempo Storm just stop it completely? Chanimals, Jamili, and Gorecki are doing a great job so far stopping them completely and healing up. Gorecki's mana pool going back up to 60% has got to be a big deal moving forward, so he can just continue to afford to pre-hot all of the damage that's about to come in. But at 15% Dampening, and it's getting more and more, and if you look, Weeback is playing it very patient. They know as more and more Dampening come back, it's going to be harder and harder for them to heal heal through this burst. Floria going for the drink. He's getting a whole bunch of it. Icy Veins coming out from Agent, and Deep Freeze got on the Gorecki. They're swapping it over onto him. He's going to Bark Skin right away. He's going to Iron Bark as well. This is the Celestial alignment from Asper. They're going to get Shadow Furied up, and Gorecki should be able to stabilize. Majidin in a lot of trouble. He's pulling back for now. Icy Veins still up for him, though. The Cyclone going out onto Dampener, negating a lot of that damage from the LSD, and at 20% dampening, they didn't really get a whole lot. I mean, actually, they got nearly every button out of Gorecki, which is a pretty big deal, but that only gives them a 40-second window to do it again.
Yeah, and they're kind of locked into going on Gorecki. The cooldowns that they got don't necessarily force them to have to swap. Dampener will have Shamanistic Rage, Channel has Trinket, Dark Regeneration, Shadow Fury, a lot of cooldowns to survive. So now We Back have locked themselves in, and I wonder if that Celestial Alignment is going to pay off. I mean, they will want to line of sight until it comes back up, I think, because Dampener is going to stack up, and it's going to be very hard for Floria to heal through it. Asper blinks forward, gets a Trent over onto Gorecki. Really well done. That's going to keep Gorecki in combat. Maybe they're going to banish the Trent. It looks like Jamili's actually just trying to kill it off. Jamili killing the forest since day one, trying to get some flame shocks out here, getting an earthquake behind the pillar, as well as Floria sitting down for a drink. Just both healers trying to trade up as much mana as possible. Channel is going to stop that drink in its tracks. Gorecki's already burned through that mana from before. Deep Freeze over onto Gorecki. Looks like they're looking for a sheep, but Channel and Dampener are already out of line of sight. It's going to be hard for them to get in there, and we see Floria charging forward. Fist of Justice onto Channels. They're going to go after him. Now, with dampening so high, his Dark Regeneration is going to be significantly weaker. He's choosing to pop it as he's dipping down below 50%. Iron Bark out from Gorecki as well. Should stabilize Channel for now. Now, Tempo Storm need to make something happen. A full fear over an Asper. Lava Bursts are flying over at Majidin. Avenging Wrath coming in about 1 second for Floria. That will allow him to top his team back off. Celestial Alignment coming up in about another minute. And now that they've got through Dark Regeneration, they've got through Iron Bark, they need to commit the Celestial Alignment to Channel, I would expect here. And they might be able to burst him down if dampening gets high enough. Asper needs to be careful. Lava Burst gets shadow melded by him as he was dipping dangerously low there. Floria trying to hold on to his Avenging Wrath. He doesn't want to pop it when his entire team's behind the pillar.
Yeah, I mean, he wants to just catch up. He wants to play it safe. But Asper actually getting stunned up by that Earthquake. Majidin pushing in, and he's kind of low. Deep Freeze lands out on a Gorecki. Hodge goes out in the channel. Do they have the CC to follow it up? Majidin getting interrupted on the Wind Shear, though. Floria bubbling, trying to keep Majidin alive at 30% dampening. Can he do it? 25% mana remains for that Paladin's health pool, and it looks like Tempo Storm is looking to push in to end the game right here, right now. Floria trinketing out of something to try to keep his team alive. Gorecki catching that full Cyclone, though. The Bash goes out in the Dampener into the Solar Beam defensively, I'd assume. Can We Back pull it out and bring some sort of aggression back? It looks like they want to pull back for now. It looks like they want to stabilize and look for the next opener in 18 short seconds. And Majidin can survive. They have that Celestial Alignment to turn it around, but Floria has no mana left to deal with this, and Tempo Storm is looking to end the game right here, right now. 34% dampening.
Yes, but it could backfire. Celestial Alignment's coming up in 5 more seconds. If We Back can hang in a little bit longer. Majin really low here with nothing left, down at 18%. Floria just nothing left to heal him. Evanescence Ring of Frost comes down. Celestial Alignment is available, but I don't think they're going to survive to use it, as we're just not able to use it. He's trying to clone defensively here. He gets locked out on that Cyclone. His entire team rotting down. Floria is going to use that Aura Mastery. What can they get done? Barskin forced out. There's the Celestial Alignment. They land the clone. They have to kill Chanimal now. Can they do it is the question. No, they cannot. Majin will fall first at 37% dampening. Tempo Storm take game number 1. Oh man, if they could have just made that a little bit easier on themselves. It's so hard to make that decision because like WeBack's only win condition is Celestial Alignment and deep dampening, and unfortunately it just didn't come up in time for the next push that they wanted to use it for, so they weren't able to capitalize on it.
Yep. I mean, the burst that the Celestial Alignment would have done at 40% dampening would have been unhealable. But just getting to that point, Tempo Storm just was not allowing that whatsoever. And there we go. Game number 1 will go to Tempo Storm. And I feel like after watching that performance from that composition, I don't think that we're going to be seeing any comp swaps. I mean, We Back, they only have the one. And the LSD looked like it did do quite well. But We Back definitely have some opportunity to change up some strategy to see if they can figure out how to beat this LSD. And it is going to be their map choice. We Back is going to have the opportunity to choose a map. Are they going to go and bring it to, like, say, like Ruins of Orderon, where everyone's, like, kind of out in the open? But at the same time, We Back many times needed to pull back and stabilize, and Ruins of Orderon just kind of negates that.
Yeah, I don't think they're going to go for Ruins of Orderon. I think it would be pretty risky from We Back. This composition seems to be pretty hard for them. I think did Dampener do almost as much damage as Chanimal
I don't
that
know.
last game, I think, and the scoreboard was pretty close at least. Yeah, so Jamili definitely feeling confident. I think the practice they had yesterday is paying off for them. Um, I actually think Asper was able to beat this LSD though with like some of his other friends, not even his main team. I think he was playing with who's he playing? I think he was playing with Mott Mage. We saw him play in the qualifier, and
Yeah.
I think he was playing with Versace, and they actually beat them. It was on Tiger's Peak. Interesting that they went for Dalaran Sewers. I would have thought this would be an advantage for the LSD, but we back have other plans, I guess, for this map.
Yeah, I mean, they probably aren't super familiar with the matchup, to be honest. Like, LSD specifically isn't something that you see on the ladder super often, right? But Major and Asper and Floria, they did want to make the map a little bit smaller, maybe get into Temple Storm's face a bit more, and try to beat them out before the game lasts too long. It's going to be a lot harder for them to pull back and wait completely for dampening on a map like this, but at the same time, being in their face, they didn't necessarily leave the aggression last game per se. They kind of they pulled back every now and then, but they were right back in it every time that they had solar beam or deep freeze. We're gonna see how this plays out for them here in game number 2 between WeBack and Temple Storm in the semifinals of GCD Pro League tournament number 7. Is WeBack the tournament champions that they were in tournament number 1? We're going to find out here. Gateway going down for Chanimals right away. Asper and Majidin are just pushing in and ready to go. Deep Freeze is available. Are they going to be using it anytime soon? Asper trinketing out of that bash right away. Deep Freeze on a Goreki. Bash on a Chanimals. He's going to get out of that and port away. And it looks like Floria is on the run. He gets the DR Hodge onto him. Goreki with the displace is right behind him, but leaving Dampener behind with the Celestial Alignment, forcing the Iron Bark from Goreki, and Temple Storm getting caught off guard a little bit right there, but still, that's only trading an Iron Bark up for that Celestial Alignment, which is a very good trade.
Yeah, a really good trade initially from Tempo Storm here. I wonder if Asper is going to plan like some Fist of Justice Solar Beams onto Jamili's and Elemental Shaman to prevent him from using his Shamanistic Rage. I think that that could be a viable option for them as well, but Tempo Storm just always pulling very far back, making it hard for any setups. Asper just getting bursted down randomly, down to 30% HP. Valoria trying to recover that damage that just got dished out. Still kind of struggling to deal with it. Still below 30% HP. Valoria trying to hold on to cooldowns and just hard cast through it. Deep Freeze over onto Goreki. Evanescence Ring of Frost will connect. Who are they going to go after is the question. Full Hots over onto Jamili. Channels should be the target, but he gates. He will get caught out by that Fist of Justice finally connecting, but Goreki is no longer CC'd. Throws a bash over onto Asper. Flurry's going to bop that maybe a little bit too late, but better late than never against this comp. Bop isn't really going to be providing any defensive measures. Asper looking to try and get a clone, not able to get it just yet. Trying to just damage through even onto the Elemental Shaman here, but Goreki's just healing through it very well. Everyone dotted up, and WeBack are going to start to slowly rot here.
Yep, they're going to have to figure something out, man. I mean, the last couple setups have really just not been available to get anything done. Majidin getting chunked down to 50% health here. He has full icicles, and he is ready to go. Can he do it? There's the Deep Freeze going out onto Goreki. If there's anything to follow up, there's the full Cyclone. The Hodge out onto Chanimals. The Ice Novas will connect. Whole bunch of damage as Dampeners put into that Solar Beam as well. Chanimals trying to line of sight, though, at this point, trying to stay alive, and it looks like Goreki's going to be just fine at keeping him alive, and WeBack over and over just getting completely stopped by Temple Storm. This just feels like they're running their heads into a brick wall every time they push in and just getting punished for it over and over and over again. It looks like Majidin, Asper, and Floria will be pulling back here at this point, but Majidin trying to push in. He maybe wants to prevent Goreki's drink here at this point, as he is getting lower and lower in mana, trying to pre-hot everybody, but I mean, the game is still too early on for that to be detrimental just yet. Dampener might be the kill target here moving forward, or it could even be Goreki. Goreki in anticipation is going to jump into that bear form right away, and he's going to pop that Iron Bark on himself as well, and just line of sight in anticipation for this swap over out onto him.
Yeah, he is going to get deep frozen. They're going to go for the sheep, but he's in the frozen. Actually, whoa, it actually didn't end up breaking. They can swap the Chanimal. Clean swap over on the Chanimal, already down to 36%. Triple Shadow Fury should break up the CC and give Goreki time to heal. He's still dipping low. Solar Beam gets dropped, and S is going to get popped, and Major is just going to flop. And that's going to be game number 2. And you can see when WeBack spend too long on top of the meat grinder, that is Tempo Storm, they're just going to get torn apart.
Yep. That's absolutely right. I mean, they wanted to get in their face. I think that's why they chose this map. And I don't know. I think that what you were talking about earlier was Mage Moonkin's advantage that they could find in dampening could definitely be their calling to take on this LSD. But with a map choice like this, I think that they just wanted to make something happen early on, and it's not working out for them. I mean, that swap over out into Channels did do a whole bunch of work, but Majiden is taking so much damage there with that aggression, and Channels was completely fine as Gorecki just had the outs available to him. And here we go, guys. We're going to be getting into potentially the last game of this series, WeBack versus Tempo Storm. WeBack is having a hell of a time to take on Tempo Storm, but I don't know. It's going to be their map choice again.
Seems like Mason is just not on his game. The first deep freeze he went for, he evanescenced, but he just spammed sheep into bear form. I don't know if he noticed it, but he used the entire deep freeze just casting polymorph into bear form. Wasn't able to get CC when Asper used his celestial alignment. So with no CC, celestial alignment really doesn't get anything done, and that ended up putting them really far behind. So yeah. I don't know. I think Mason needs a boost of confidence right now. He
Make
needs
sure
some
to
GCD.
give. If you're a fan of the Mage Moonkin Holy Paladin team WeBack, make sure to give Majiden all the energy you can, because he is going into potentially the last game of this series here in the semifinals of round 3 of the upper bracket. It's Tempo Storm versus WeBack in this best of 5 series to determine who will be going to the finals in that upper bracket. Now, if whoever loses this series will be dropping down to face the winner between Method and Donut. Now they'll have to go through WeBack to get through the finals, and that's just not a place that any of these teams want to be in. They want to be in that final, sitting pretty and ready to go. We're going to be jumping into the next series here, or I'm sorry, the same series here soon, but after this series between Tempo Storm and WeBack in the semifinals, it is Method versus Donut up next, so you guys don't want to miss that. That's going to be a very explosive matchup indeed, so make sure to sit right here at GCD TV. And just before the finals, guys, we'll be giving away a Jinx hoodie. That is correct, a Jinx hoodie. So if you guys want to know what type of hoodies you can choose from on Jinx, check out Jinx's website. There's a button below. But before we do that,
I don't want to interrupt you, but I took the cue because I don't want to leave you alone in an LSD match. But I just have to go to the.
Oh yeah, no problem. I don't want to leave me alone in an LSD match. I love that. Don't worry about it, buddy. All right, so it's Tempo Storm versus WeBack. Game number 3. Chanimals, Dampener, and Gorecki. If you guys didn't know, Dampener is the Elemental Shaman representing Jamili on Team Tempo Storm, and that beard is just magnificent. They're going up against Majiden, Asper, and Floria on a Shaman. How did I miss this? Hello? There is a Restoration Shaman who has entered the arena, and his name is Floria. This is definitely a new scene for Floria. This is not his main class. Is it going to be enough to take down Tempo Storm's Restoration Shaman, or I'm sorry, Elemental Shaman, UA Warlock, Resto Druid? Will that additional tools that the Shaman brings to the table be enough to take out Tempo Storm? We're going to find out here. This is match point. Not necessarily match point. This is 2-0 in favor of Tempo Storm, and WeBack is on the ropes of elimination. The gates have opened. I'm really curious to know what Tempo Storm is thinking right now, seeing this Resto Shaman enter the arena. As we're pushing and getting some Starfires for now. Chanimals getting rooted up here. Gorecki still choosing to stay in stealth with those pre-hots out. Deep Freeze goes out on a Gorecki in this cat form. They're swapping over onto him, forcing the Barkskin of the Celestial alignment. Looks like there's not a lot of damage to follow it up just yet, but Gorecki still being the main kill target is just trying to line of sight all this pressure. There's the bash going out onto Floria. They might be making a swap over onto him. It looks like he's just going to get dotted up for now. Chanimals being the main kill target, catching the Ice Stone was at 50% health here, but no CC on a Gorecki. Chanimals could be completely fine. Actually, they popped all of their cooldowns to kill Chanimals' pet. Actually, a very interesting choice coming out from WeBack to stop all of the additional healing that the pet will do, but also the interrupts. Full Polymorph does land out onto Gorecki. Chanimals looks like he is the main kill target for now. The Observer does come back out, but it looks like they're trying to kill the next one already. Gorecki trying to get some regrowth on it. He's going to spam one right into it and heal it right back up, and it's going to be completely fine for now. So not only a composition swap coming out from WeBack, but also a strategy change. And they're just going to pull back for now. Asper displacing away from Dampener. Going to catch a few. That animation for Elemental Shamans is actually the coolest thing ever. Those giant lava spikes flying out. But here we go. Chanimals looks like it's going to be the main kill target here moving forward. He is micromanaging that pet quite well, keeping it at the pillar, making it hard for WeBack to go and kill that Observer. So great job by him being able to do that. And it looks like Tempo Storm is going to play a very patient game here moving forward against WeBack. WeBack waiting for their defensive cooldowns, maybe waiting for their DRs to push back in, or maybe they even want Tempo Storm to run at them and give up their pillar. They do have that gate placed quite aggressively, it would seem. Chanimal's just peeking and getting the dots out consistently, rotting down Weeback for now. But Floria, so far on his Restoration Shaman, has been keeping his team up no problem. Asper looking to make something happen, decursing whenever he can, trying to help out Floria with his healing. Floria looking to get that dispel. He's going to dispel the UA right away and keep the momentum in their favor. Asper actually blinking in, looking to set something up. Deep Freeze goes out into Chanimals. Is just going to be dispelled by Goreki because there's no follow-up CC on Goreki to stop that dispel from happening. So maybe a little bit of misplay. Now they're going to have to wait for the Deep Freeze to come back up off cooldown once again. Goreki, though, preemptively hotting everyone, is already at 50% mana. So he is worried about the setup that is to come, utilizing so much of that mana pool. Asper just sitting in these guys' face, just doing some spread pressure. Dampener dipping down to 50% health here as Goreki's just healing through it with regrowth as well. Trent's. And Asper, he's just sitting comfy in their face, just dotting them all up. He's going to get bashed up, though. He's going to force that trinket to line of sight these guys. So Goreki just kind of smacking them up a bit, saying, no, you're going to be punished if you sit in our face. But it looks like Tempo Storm is trying to pull the game out. But here we go. Majidin deeping Goreki up right away. Goreki actually getting out of that deep, going into bear form in anticipation of maybe a swap over out onto him. But Fuloria on a Shaman and Weeback all together are forced defensive. The triple Shadow Fury comes out and Fuloria actually got so low there, forcing a link out as well. He's got to be careful about that. That was a lot of damage coming out from Dampener, chunking down Fuloria. Now Fuloria on the back foot trying to heal up his team as they're all relatively low here at this point. And Tempo Storm is playing a very patient game here in game number 3. As Asper gets deeper and lower and lower, he's at 34% health here. He's going to use that Bark Skin right away. But Dampener also is getting really low, and he's going to catch the Iron Bark. Deep Freeze goes out onto Goreki. Can Majidin follow it up? He gets interrupted on that Polymorph, and then interrupted with the Shadow Fury on that Ring of Frost. And Goreki's not going to be CC'd today. And all the stops from Tempo Storm seem very calculated and never overlapping. It's a great job by them to be able to do that. Dampener seems to be the main kill target for now. Goreki getting Ice Nova'd up. Do they have the follow-up CC is the question. But it looks like Weeback might be playing a very more passive game. They're not going to be running in nearly as often unless they know they have a good, solid opener. And this could be beneficial to them moving further into dampening. I mean, Goreki at 42% mana versus Weeback's 91% on Fuloria is a big deal. But Majidin taking a bunch of damage, forced to pull back here. But as dampening gets closer and closer, and Asper still has that Celestial Line available, Goreki's got to be a little scared in anticipation from the crazy burst damage that's about to happen. Oh, and there we go. Asper actually blinking in and getting Goreki out of stealth and out of that drink. But he's got to be careful, forcing to Barkskin there. That was a defensive cooldown traded up in response for Goreki's drink. He's still at 44% mana, and the dampening is about to go down here in just a short second. There we go. Dampening has started. Deep Freeze goes out on Goreki, but the double Shadow Fury from Chanimals is going to stop Majin and Asper in their tracks. Goreki still at relatively low mana. He's going to catch an Ice Nova out of stealth. Asper just playing in their face, no Barkskin available to him, but he wants to get in there at 2% dampening, and it's going to stack up more and more. It's going to be harder and harder for Fuloria to heal through all of this, but if he can do it, the burst pressure from Weeback is going to be very difficult for Goreki to heal through. He's going to catch a huge mastery heal from the new Restoration Shaman of Fuloria. And then we're getting deeper into dampening. We're at 4% dampening. Who's actually going to have the advantage here? Is it the Mage Moonkin, or is it going to be Dampener himself?
Yeah, it's going to be pretty interesting, I think. Fuloria playing Shaman will be able to buy Weeback the time to survive into deep dampening. We see Celestial Alignment being popped, Iron Bark preemptively onto Goreki. Are they going to swap? Are they just going to go right through it? Looks like they're spreading the damage out a little bit, maybe just holding on to it. I think Majidin got locked on Frost, so they're going to pause the offensive for a couple of seconds. Majidin starting to rot down here. Still, it actually is running Ice Block this game, not Evanescence, so he will be able to trade those defensively. And now Celestial Alignment's over. They got the Bark Skins. It's not really a big deal. I really feel like Weeback, their only win condition is Celestial Alignment with like 50% dampening on Chanimal maybe, and they can just kill him through Dark Regeneration. We see Majin, though, kind of low here, pushing forward, but Fuloria tops him off. One healing surge. I think the Shaman change is smart. Like, just stop running into the brick wall with the Holy Paladin, try and experiment with something different. And the rest of Shaman should give them the capability to live to that 50% dampening point where Asper will reach a critical mass and just one-shot someone most likely.
Yeah, Dampener's still the main kill target here, but Floria also taking a bit of pressure as well. It's just the Wizard War as they peek around this pillar, but Floria's mana really is sitting pretty at 70% versus Goreki at 16% at 12% dampening. And so far, Weeback, they're finding those small advantages, and those mastery heals coming out from Floria, just topping off his team whenever they get rotted down is so good. Deep freeze on him, on Goreki into the solar beam. Looks like Weeback wants to get aggressive here out onto Dampener. Asper is just pumping the damage out onto him. Goreki trying to preemptively heal through this with all the hots, and it's taking a toll. He's at 14% mana. Bash into the full clone, lands out onto Dampener, and Chanimal's now the main kill target. As he gets locked out on that haunt, Bash goes out onto Asper, but no damage really to follow it up, and I feel like Weeback is gaining some momentum here with this composition change.
Yep, Goreki trying to sit down for a drink, but they're going to stop it in their tracks. That's their only advantage. Keep Goreki wait for 50% dampening, Celestial Alignment one-shot. That's the really only winning strategy, I think, for Weeback right now, and they just need to be careful with their cooldowns here. Jamili could get some pretty big lava burst chains. Goreki caught into the deep freeze, not able to chain it into anything just yet. Majin getting locked on Poly, now blinking back towards Floria. Floria's going to need to top off his team here. With that Shaman Mastery, he should be able to easily do it here. Just get a couple of healing surges off. Everyone should get popped back up to full. Chanimal's Dark Soul here doing quite a bit of work, though. Goreki sitting down in Meld looking for a drink, but that Trent was keeping him in combat. Asper's going to stop the drink, but at what expense? He actually pushed very far forward, down at 29%. Ascendance actually forced out from Floria to try and recover through the pressure that Tempo Storm is outputting, as Asper and Majin were caught in the center of the map to try and stop the drink, and they have to keep stopping that drink.
Yeah, 8% mana. They're doing a great job so far, and Floria at 50% mana. Deep Freeze goes out onto Goreki. Looks like they want to get aggressive in their guys' face. The orb coming out as well. Bash goes out onto Chanimals. Asper pushing forward, trying to get some damage going. And every single time they do this, it forces Goreki to preemptively make some mana, because in 5 short seconds, he's going to have Celestial Alignment, and this is going to be some crazy damage coming out from Weeback, and Goreki is in anticipation of it. But the Shaman changes seems good so far, but this is a Celestial Alignment from Asper. He wants to get something done with this. Majin, and taking a bunch of damage, is forced into that block. Floria going to go ahead and dispel him. Before that, Deep Freeze goes out onto Goreki. Do they have anything to follow it up just yet? Celestial Alignment still doing a ton of damage into Chanimals, forcing that Bark Skin out from Goreki, as well as a whole bunch of heals. Goreki still maintaining his mana at 11%. As we go deeper and deeper into dampening, it's 26% dampening so far, and maybe Weeback has overstayed their welcome. They're taking a lot of damage. They got an ice block. He's still on hypothermia, but Goreki is just never catching a break healing through all this.
I think if they can keep CCing Chanimals here for a few more seconds, they might be able to slow down the damage output. Goreki caught into that deep freeze. Frozen Orb gets thrown out as well. Jamili line of sight and healing himself. They're actually going on to Chanimal now, as everyone has retreated to the opposite side of the pillar. Goreki still dangerously low on mana. Weeback needs to survive for at least 2 more minutes, reach the 50% dampening mark, have that Celestial Alignment, be comfortable, maybe hold on to Ascendance so that they can stay aggressive despite that high of dampening. And if Goreki is out of mana, they might be able to get the win. Agent was forced to block the Ore Mastery out from Jamili there. A lot of damage getting chucked out. They do manage to kill Chanimal's pet. I'm not sure if he's managed to get another one out just yet, but he doesn't have that Soul Link for a few seconds. Asper trying to catch up here, but he is rotting down. Goreki getting fully sheeped off. Nothing. Majin finding an opportunity, maybe make something happen here. If they could get Goreki's Trinket before Celestial Alignment, that would be so critical. Chanimal gating away. I actually think he still doesn't have Soul Link, so he's going to be without a pet for a few more seconds. Majin, though, Jamili just soloing him in the backline, gonna take him out with a lava burst combo, and that's a spicy meatball from Jamili, taking it 3-0 against Weeback and advancing to the finals.
That is such an unfortunate death from Ajdin, with his team still having a lot of defensive cooldowns left. They had so much momentum in their favor, but the LSD from Tempo Storm definitely looking seasoned, and they're gonna take the series 3-0, knocking Weeback down to that lower bracket to face the winner between Donut and Method. That's going to be coming up next. But there you have it. The best of 5 series will be concluded. Who will be facing Tempo Storm in the finals? And so far, Tempo Storm is still undefeated in this tournament.
Yep, and they're looking pretty good into the finals now. Now we've got Method versus Donut. Who do you think is going to come out ahead here? I was wanting to talk about this a little bit earlier, but what kind of comps do you think Method's going to run? They've got the MLS. They also have LSD. Smexon plays an Elemental Shaman. They could switch their comps up here. Will they just play the WLS? It's kind of a toss-up.
Yeah. I think I'm going to see a WLS